aka Trigger Ranking. So basically, we in here right now. About to talk about this whole Diddy thing. Got some new stuff Diddy going on today. Law and Crime has put us up on and another one, like DJ Khaled and another one, and put us up on it. Oh, yeah, let me get it out. Yeah, they done put us up on it. Got another one in here. Diddy say he got 13 new cases. Got some graphic claims in this what we're talking about here. So y'all listen, about to get to it, about to listen what's going on. See what happened. Let's go, y'all. Let's go. Let's go.
We have 13 new lawsuits against Sean Combs we're going to talk about, including from a reality TV show contestant claiming she was assaulted by the rapper to a man who claims he was abused when he was 14. The allegations are deeply disturbing, and we're going to break down the details and the law related to each of these new suits for you right now. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law.
This is the show Sidebar, presented to you by Law and Crime. This is Law and Crime stuff.
Crime, I'm Jesse Weber. We have a number of new lawsuits that were just filed against Sean Combs that we got to talk about. Adds to the legal predicament that he finds himself in. I mean, not only is he already facing a multitude of lawsuits, but again, he's currently awaiting trial on federal sex crimes charges that's going to happen in May. So we have 13 new lawsuits. Let's get into them. So the first one is filed in New York State Court, and it was filed by a woman named Arastalia Benitez, suing Sean Combs and related Bad Boy and Combs corporate entities. So we go back to 1995 when this allegedly happened, when Benitez says she was 20 years old, living in New York, a sophomore at NYU, was working for Pepe Jeans. It's apparently a sister brand to Tommy Hilfiger that was run by Tommy's brother, Andy. And she claims that is when she was introduced to Sean Combs, when Andy Hilfiger apparently invited her to a party at a restaurant. Now, it's interesting because she provides the address of the restaurant in the complaint, but doesn't give the name. Maybe doesn't recall the name. Right now, by the way, if you look up 110 Waverly Place, it's called Babbo. Not sure if that was the restaurant back in 1995 or if the address is even correct in this complaint. Just interesting to think about. But anyway, she claims that Combs was there, offers women, including Benitez, alcoholic drinks.
Hey, y'all hit the like button. Y'all hit the like button, man.
So then she claims Combs...
Hit the like button, fam. Hit the like button, bro.
She says yes, again, being assured by Combs that it didn't have any alcohol in it. However, according to Benitez, right after he allegedly gives her that drink, Combs allegedly groped and fondled her breasts, her buttocks, and her private area under her clothes, to which she claims she pushed him away.
So it look like Puffy out here messing with men and women. Oh, I got it. Anyway, yeah, y'all hit the like button, man. But yeah, it's they saying he fondling.
Way voiced her non-consent to this, yet she believes her drink was laced.
What's happening? What's happening, brother?
GHB. Now, this
son of the ugly brother
is very consistent with many of the lawsuits that we've seen before, right? The spiking of drinks or lubricants with drugs to...
Hold on, bro. Son of the ugly brother, bro. Y'all, hey, that's a hell of a name. Son of the ugly brother. What's up, my G? What's up, official Leo? What's happening, fam?
Make victims or alleged victims compliant. And she claims that she ended up passing out. And when she wakes up in a cab hours later, doesn't know how she got there.
I hit the like button, hit the like button.
Her address was provided to the driver, so the allegation would be who would know where she lived, who would put her in this car. And she also claims that her clothes that she was wearing to the party, they were missing. So she was wearing the gym clothes that she had in a bag that she took with her to the party. And also, she claims her driver's license had been taken out of her while it was in her bag. So allegedly, somebody changed her, moved her stuff. And this is important. She claims she had pain in her private area, so she believes that she was assaulted. Now, on a defense note, I will just say they could argue, how can she be certain she was sexually assaulted? And
Yeah, they can argue like you might have a STD. They could say that. They could say that. They could say that.
who, if she doesn't quite remember what happened? But obviously, there are successful civil lawsuits and prosecutions, even in episodes of drugging, where the victim doesn't remember every detail. By the way, this episode took me a long time to write, 13 lawsuits. And by the way, we are doing multiple sidebars a day. So I'm very busy. I'm always running around. But I will tell you what, our amazing sponsor, Upside, just made my daily life buying daily essentials. If I go out for lunch at Chipotle, it's money that appears in your Upside app that you transfer right into your earn. Click the link in the description. Now, putting that to the side, this is interesting. After this description of alleged events, she then references Sean Combs' indictment from September 2024. And it says, the indictment states defendant Combs' physical abuse was recurrent and widely known. Not only were defendant Combs' criminal enterprise entities aware of his misconduct, these entities actually enabled his criminal behavior through employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that defendant Combs led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Specifically, the indictment states defendant Combs used certain employees, including his security staff, to enable sexual assault. So in other words, the reason I believe they're including all this about the indictment, and again, he's facing sex trafficking charges, racketeering charges, transportation to engage in prostitution. But the reason I think they're including this is to say, in other words, that's why
What's up, son of an ugly brother?
are now named as defendants in this lawsuit, and how this alleged assault may have been carried out with the help of others. And I also wonder if that is included to suggest this is why the action is being brought now as opposed to years ago, right? Either I didn't feel the ability to come forward because I didn't understand what had happened to me until Combs' alleged pattern and practice was laid out by prosecutors so many years later.
Y'all hit the like button.
Because of Combs' power, his wealth.
Hit the like button, y'all. Come on, man. Got a couple folks in here. Y'all hit that like, man. Come on, man. Hit the like button, bro. That shit free.
His influence, it was very difficult to come forward. By the way, I want you to keep that in mind because that theme comes up in other lawsuits. But aside from what could be an issue of credibility for Ms. Benitez, if this goes to trial and she testifies and is questioned by Combs' counsel, why'd you wait so many years to come forward if this allegation was true? Aside from that, the law...
See, the thing about that is, like, a lot of victims, they don't come forward because it's shame that's dealing with something that has to do with SA. There's a lot of shame to it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if it's a woman, a man, whatever. You know, sometimes it's young men that's getting SA'd and females getting SA'd. But yeah, man, like they not. It's a shameful thing to be, you know, accosted by somebody that, you know, you didn't want to be with. So yeah, man, y'all gotta
actually seems to support this action and where it won't be blocked by the statute of limitations. Why do I say that? Because she is suing under the New York City Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act, or VGMVPA. The idea is that a sexual assault is a crime of violence, that because of the characteristics of that attack, it shows it was motivated by gender. And this specific law provides a 2-year look-back window to sue alleged abusers and those who aided or enabled that abuse, no matter how far back the alleged incidents happened. Meaning, if they were otherwise time-barred, you can still file a lawsuit. You just need to file it before March 1st, 2025. So this was filed February 27th. Actually, that's maybe why we're seeing an influx of so many lawsuits against Sean Combs before that deadline. But here's
So
how.
y'all see what they saying? They saying that it was a something put on the, I guess the law or whatever, that it was going to be a longer time to be able to file lawsuits or whatever with certain things or whatever. So basically, they're letting certain cases come in after, I guess, a certain time. So basically, now you can file a lawsuit, because I know it's like a deadline. I know when Cassie filed their lawsuit, it was like a deadline or something like that. They had to file a lawsuit within a certain time, but it was like in 2023 or 24 or something like that when it was cutting off. But now they're saying they're giving them more time, so that's why you see an influx of the things as far as lawsuits against Diddy.
Connects to not only Combs, but the other defendants. The complaint reads that the corporate defendants enabled defendant Combs to commit this act of gender motivated violence by using their power and influence to take advantage of plaintiff while she was in a vulnerable state, providing her with drinks with substances in them that caused her to lose consciousness and control over her body, and raping her. Giving Combs a long-standing pattern and practice of committing sexual violence against.
Lord have mercy. It just sounds so bad. It sounds bad. It sounds really bad. It really do. It sounds horrible. Like, I mean, he's reading, but it's like when you're like reading Rainbow, I can do anything. Yeah. Yeah, but the way he reading it, it sounds horrible.
Others, both male and female, and including those below the age of majority.
Man, say male, female, and the people below the age of majority. Lord have mercy, Jesus. In the name of Jesus.
Corporate defendants knew or should have known of the defendant Combs' propensity to engage in gender-motivated violence and did nothing to stop defendant Combs and his entourage from continuing to do so. And she is seeking compensatory damages, those to restore a plaintiff to whole, punitive damages, a form of punishment against the defendant, costs, fees, including attorney's fees, and also, just as you saw and you will see, like Ms. Benitez, there are plaintiffs who have chosen to sue under their real names, no pseudonyms like Jane Doe or John Doe. Number of reasons why. First, they may want to go public with their claims and not shield behind anonymity. Perhaps they believe this would make their argument stronger because, not so easy to make a public statement like this.
So some of these people, they don't want to go under the guise of John Doe. Some of these people, they want to go, full commando on this thing. They want to go commando. They want to say, hey, this is what he did, and they want to show their face. So
personal claims, private details, and announce who you are. So they might argue it adds to my credibility. But also, as we talked about before, a number of Jane Does who have tried to proceed anonymously in their civil actions against Sean Combs, they have been ordered by the court that if they want these cases to go forward, they need to publicly identify themselves. They can't use pseudonyms anymore. And that's namely because they haven't shown enough reason or strong enough reason to remain anonymous. Like they haven't shown how they will suffer harm if their identities are revealed. There's also Sean Combs' rights as a defendant in a litigation to know who is suing him. So perhaps plaintiffs like Ms. Benitez and others say, we want to save the costs in having to litigate that precise issue about anonymity, going back and forth on that. Let's just move on to the actual substance of the case. Okay, so we went a little bit into depth about that specific case, the law here, but I only did that because this is very similar claims, similar law, similar paragraphs to what we're seeing in these other lawsuits. I wanted to lay the groundwork. Now you know what this is all about. Now you know the law, and we're going to go through the rest of these pretty quickly. Next one, we got Kendra Haffney. So this is New York State Supreme Court suing Sean Combs, also suing currently unidentified John Does, whose identities may be revealed during the course of the litigation and officially.
Kendra Haffney. She put her whole name out there, y'all. She put her name out there for everybody to look it up and everything. So, yeah, these people, they ain't playing. They're not playing. Like, They're actual victims. Like somebody who's willing to put that name out there and say this man did this to me or whatever, and some people are coming for a money grab, but everybody can't be coming for a money grab. Like it's I'll say out of 100%, we might say it might be 30% or 40% coming for a money grab. But it gotta be at least 60% that is really true.
Named as defendants once she might find out who those people are. Also suing Bad Boy Entertainment and VH1. She claims back in 2006 she had graduated from college with hopes of entering the fashion world. So she claims the next year she applied to be on Sean Combs' new reality show on VH1. And the show is called I Want to Work with Diddy. And she claims after interviews and even receiving a letter saying she was a finalist, actually the text of that apparent letter is published in the complaint, she claims she was chosen to be on the show. And she claims at a party, she was given a drink, started to feel delirious. She was taken to where Diddy was sitting, and he ultimately persuaded her to perform oral sex on him. So she claimed that it was a combination of the environment, the substances she was given, the power dynamics, and she then...
So basically they said, like, she showed up, I don't know, like, might have to go back and listen. I might have to go back and listen to the video, but basically she showed up and, with all, the whole aura, everything with the DURGS's and, the whole ambiance of everything, she felt like, she was coercing some things that she didn't want to do.
Says she passed out. When she wakes up, she claims she wakes up back in the bed at the reality TV show house where they were all living. Combs is at the foot of the bed, and she claims she knew at that point she had been raped because she had a pain in her private area. And she claims that she and the cast were at one point then flown to LA.
Man, come on, bro. Come on, dog. Let's talk about it, y'all. Let's talk about it, bro. Like, this is hip hop. This dude right here, he been in hip hop for 30 years. He made a lot of money off of hip hop. This is where he got to start from, music. And it's really crazy because, P. Diddy was a staple and an icon in New York hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And New York hip hop, we'll say that. We ain't talking about the world, LA, we ain't talking about no other city. We're just saying New York now. New York, this man was a staple in hip hop history. And, it's like, when you think about it, it's certain things like, they talk about, what's his name? African Bambaataa. And he got a whole connection to Hassan Campbell. I know a lot of people out here know about Hassan Campbell, but it's like a lot of these dudes that was in hip hop, they was doing a lot of things that was like nefarious when it comes to women, men, and children. And it's like I want to put a spotlight on it because I want to change that in hip hop. I want to change it as far as that. I want to change it as far as drill rap, all this stuff, bro. Like the way Kendrick had packed Drake up, that was perfect. Pack you up in a song, get you up out of here, and it is what it is. But all of this other stuff as far as like drill rap and people dying, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all, bro. But let's keep going.
Where Combs kept complimenting her, and she had this mixed bag of emotions about how to feel about all this because he called her a star or would be a star. But she claims that he continued to commit alleged acts of sexual assault and misconduct upon her. And she is also suing under the same Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. Next up, we have Leslie Cockrell.
They call it a gender motivated uh, attraction act or something like that.
Also suing in New York State court. And she claims that back in 1999, when she was 24 years old, she ran a scouting business connecting artists with producers. And at one point, she connected with somebody named Jay Stone. She claims that in the summer of 1999, she was at her friend Korea's apartment in the Bronx, and at around 1 a.m., Stone comes to the apartment with an invitation to go to Combs' party in the Hamptons. So they drive there. They arrive, according to her, at around 3 or 4 a.m. By the way, very specific details in this.
3 or 4 a.m. Like that's like if you just think about it, bro, like that's kind of like they the just for them to even remember the time frame from that long ago, like that kind of like goes with the validity of what they're saying, like what they're talking about.
Complaint. Had to see what that say. Does that add to her credibility in a way? Now, if you add specific details and it's later shown that that's not accurate, that the evidence that comes out that you're wrong, that could hurt a little bit. I mean, look what happened with the unidentified Jane Doe who was suing Jay-Z. Her claims about what she saw and what she observed, there was an NBC report that allegedly or arguably debunked a lot of that. So just something to keep in mind. On one hand, it can be really useful for a plaintiff.
So they said something about the Jay-Z thing with Diddy and the 13-year-old. Like, okay, so with that, you know, I could definitely say it was dropped, you know, it was dropped, but she wanted to remain a Jane Doe, and she still came out. She did the interview, um, and after she did the interview, they picked it apart. They picked the interview apart. But at the end of the day, the lady, I think she's autistic also. So by her being autistic, like too, you got to kind of put two and two together. Like somebody that like you got to remember this how long ago this was. She might have not remember all the details. You know what I'm saying? She might got details wrong or whatever. But it could be true. It could be false, man. I mean, I'm just saying though.
To be that more specific, but it also, if it's not backed up by the evidence, could be problematic. Then again, this happened so long ago, maybe it's not surprising that some of these details are not 100% accurate. Anyway, she claims she goes to this party, and at the party, she had to give security her phone, and she claims that Combs comes up to her, offers her a drink, rubs her shoulders, touches her, and then gives her a tour of the house. And she claims that as this was going on, there were essentially naked people engaging in all sorts of sexual activities all around her. And then she claims she started to feel lightheaded and then nauseous and believes, as we've heard before, that her drinks were spiked. And she claims she was put in a room where Combs and another man were naked. She claims that Combs started pleasuring himself, touching her. She claims she couldn't move or scream. She claims she actually heard other men laughing while this was going on, so it sounded like they were watching all this happen. And then she alleges that Sean Combs raped her. From there, she claims she woke up in a car outside the house.
This is like dismal. This is dismal, bro. Like I'm just, I'm gonna let y'all know, bro. Like, excuse me. I'm a man, bro. I'm a man's man. Bro, if you're doing this to women and young women and young people or children, things like that, their nature, bro. Something need to get did to you. So They need to send Diddy wherever he need to go. Cause the way I feel, all these people can't be lying, bro. Everybody ain't lying now. I'm talking about everybody ain't lying, fam. Come on now. Like, for real, for real. Everybody ain't lying, my nigga. Come on now. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, bro. Everybody is not lying, bro. They can't be. How? How? How are they lying, bro? You got 100 and some people, bro? 130 some people?
Swollen as if she'd been beaten up.
Ain't one person out there.
Back to her friend's house in the Bronx by a security guard, but not before this security guard allegedly told her that, quote, she should just accept what just happened to her and be grateful that defendant Combs picked her. Told her that she was a nobody and to not tell anyone what happened, and she claims she was terrified. And it goes to the idea of maybe why she didn't come forward sooner, right? This complaint also reads, once at her friend's house, plaintiff told her friend about what happened. Plaintiff's friend encouraged her to call the police, but plaintiff was scared by what the security guard with a gun had said to her, so she decided not to. She is also sued under New York City's Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act.
Gender motivated protection act. That's what it is. Okay. Like he said a couple of times, but I had to gender motivated protection act. Okay. All right,
Were you born between 1970
Hey, hold on, I ain't got.
If so, you can get $250 to spend at McDonald's.
Right,
Next up, we have Justin
commercial.
Gooch, also filed on February 27th, like the last two. Claims that when he was just 16 years old in January 1999, he went to the Tunnel nightclub. And he claims Combs was there, saw him, gave him ecstasy and alcohol, and when they went into a bathroom together, he claims Combs gave him ketamine, and then proceeded to sodomize him without his consent.
Damn. That's nasty work, bro. That's the nastiest of the works, bro. Like, you see my face? That's nasty work. That's real nasty work right there, bro. Yeah. We ain't doing that. What, like, Diddy, what you got going on, Diddy? Okay, so look, they say Diddy had drugged a man and all this alleged Diddy drugged a man and they say he got behind him and all this kind of stuff, and I mean, this rough right here, bro. This rough.
Combs allegedly saying, that wasn't so bad, was it? And he apparently didn't tell his grandparents.
What? Hold on, bro. Hold on. We gotta go back on that. Hold on.
So he was living with back and proceeded to sodomize him without his consent. With Combs saw him, gave him ecstasy and alcohol, and when they went into a bathroom together, he claims Combs gave him ketamine, and then proceeded to sodomize him without his consent. With Combs allegedly saying, that wasn't so bad, was it? And he apparently didn't tell his grandparents.
What?
He was living with back in New Jersey, but his friends apparently found out that this happened, so he wanted potential witnesses at a trial. Now, he too is suing under the Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act, but he's also suing for negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and battery. Interesting, those claims, because you do wonder, is there a statute of limitations issue on those causes of action? We'll see. Next one we have from February 28th. So again, right before that March 1st deadline of the Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. This is from an unidentified Jane Doe who claims that in or around March 1998, she and a girlfriend went to a party at Combs' recently opened restaurant in Manhattan called Justin's. And once there, she claims she met an unidentified athlete, referred to as Athlete A. Apparently, this person sent her a drink, invited her to a private table, but she claims at one point she goes into the bathroom and Athlete A follows her in. Now they start flirting, they start kissing. She essentially saying this is all consensual, but then she claims an angry Sean Combs started banging on the door, came into the bathroom, shut the door, locked it, and proceeded to try to force Jane Doe to perform oral sex on him. Again, while the Athlete A is present. Now, according to her, Athlete A did try to intervene, but Combs got angry at him. She was able to run out, but according to her, Combs then instructed one of his associates to spray champagne on her. Now, the fact that this person is identified as Athlete A, I think it seems fair to say she knows who this person is.
Right.
And is it possible
What's
that there's
going
something going on
on
behind the scenes where there's an effort to subpoena this person as a witness to testify on her behalf before publicly identifying him? Maybe.
Right, this is horrible. Like, Diddy, what you got going on, dog? Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with this. They shit. I don't even know what to tell y'all with this shit right here.
Also, she is suing under the New York City Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. Next up, we have another Jane Doe, also suing in New York State Court. She claims that in 2007, she was 18 years old and was working at the Enclave Inn in the Hamptons when she claims she was approached by an individual who said that they were connected with several high-profile people and invited her to one of Sean Combs' infamous white parties at Combs' East Hampton home. You know, the parties where everybody dresses up in white attire and there's celebrities all around. So she and her friend apparently go, and according to her, they had to sign some sort of document, maybe an NDA, and she claims that powder, pills, drinks, they were all being handed out. And even though Jane Doe claims she and her friend didn't really want to partake in any of this, she claims she was essentially forced to take a drink. And after about 20 minutes of taking a sip, she began to feel off and, quote, loopy and off balance. Now, this is interesting because what I'm about to describe to you is an account not from Jane Doe, but this is apparently according to Jane Doe's friend. So seemingly a key witness, the key witness here in this case, if this should go to trial. Now, apparently this friend was worried about Jane Doe, tries to call a taxi to pick them up, but apparently there was poor cell phone reception, which she claims was suspicious. So she puts Jane Doe on a couch and goes outside to try to call a taxi. The complaint reads, approximately 15 minutes later, Doe's friend returned to find a horrific sight. Doe unconscious, surrounded by Combs and 3 other unidentified men. Doe's clothes had been removed, with only her bra remaining.
So we done heard this story before. Somebody else done lied about this story before. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, yeah, somebody else done lied about this story. Yeah, but this another story that's coming out like the same story. But somebody did lie on Puffy, said the same thing. They tried to get somebody else to corroborate their story that used to work with Diddy. And they found out it was a lie. But, you know.
One of the men was on top of Doe, while another was lifting her head to his groin in an attempt to orally sodomize her. Doe's friend, upon seeing her friend unconscious, naked, and being heinously exploited, immediately ran inside the room, yelling and pushed the man on top of Doe off of her. All 4 men include...
Damn, so they got like somebody who done ran in the, like baby her homegirl done ran in there and basically, come on now.
Defending Combs quickly disappeared back into the party. Her friend began slapping Doe's face and shaking her in an effort to wake her from an unconscious state. When Doe finally regained consciousness, her friend helped her find her clothes, put them on, and the 2 immediately tried to leave. The 2 young women slowly made progress towards the exit, with Doe relying heavily on her friend to both stand and walk When they reached the door, a man stepped in their way, blocking the path to leave. He reminded them of the, quote, legal documents they had signed when they arrived, stating, "What happens at this party stays here." Doe and her friend left the property, were able to get a taxi. Once inside, Doe slipped back into unconsciousness almost immediately. Doe's friend helped get them back to her house. Doe and her friend did not report the incident to the police or their parents due to their fears of retaliation from defendant Combs. Moreover, they were concerned that no one would believe them because of defendant Combs' status as a celebrity. Also, a lawsuit under New York City's Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act. Next up, we have another Jane Doe. Claims that in 2006, when she claimed she was in her 20s, she and others went to the famous 40-40 Club. And she claims Combs was there, sent over drinks, and after drinking them, again, she began to feel woozy. She goes to the bathroom when all of a sudden
Y'all know who used to own 40-40? Jay-Z, allegedly. Jay-Z owned 40-40, allegedly.
alleges Combs busts in, tries to force her to perform oral sex on him, fondles her. And now let me read you the rest from the complaint because I don't think my description is going to do it justice. Quote, Doe began screaming for help. Enraged and true to character, Combs shouted, "I'm Puff Daddy. I get what I want. I have the keys to the city and I know you want it." Doe continued to resist, screaming no and help. However, due to the loud music from the club speakers, no one heard her. Suddenly, the main bathroom door opened again. Distracted, Combs briefly looked away. Realizing the opportunity, Doe shoved him against the stall door and ran past him out of the bathroom. As she exited, she noticed one of Combs' bodyguards, a known associate regularly involved in his illicit behavior, standing outside. Doe fled the club, disheveled, terrified, and emotionally and physically traumatized. Her life has never been the same. Also suing under the Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection.
So he reading all of them. He reading all of them out. Like, this is wild.
Next, another Jane Doe, New York State Court. This happened allegedly in
So they letting them do Jane Doe.
2001. She claims that she went to a nightclub, saw Sean Combs' bodyguard, Joseph Sherman, there, who actually was accused, by the way, in a different lawsuit by a woman named Talia Graves of raping her alongside Combs, okay? But anyway, this Jane Doe claims that Sherman was romantically involved with one of her friends, and after several hours at the club, which she wanted to leave, Sherman had offered to give her a ride home. But he claimed that he needed to first stop at his apartment to pick something up. But Jane Doe claimed she needed to use the restroom, so Sherman allowed her to come back upstairs to use the restroom. But she claims after she walked out of Sherman's restroom in his apartment, he was completely naked, ordered her to remove all of her clothes. She says she refused, and she claims that he then took out a gun, and out of fear, Jane Doe goes into his bedroom, and he allegedly rapes her while holding a gun to her head. He then apparently drove her home, but she allegedly told him to drop her off a few blocks away so he wouldn't know where exactly she lived. Now, this is a very heinous and scary account, clearly, but you could see how a defense...
Come on, bro. This is... I mean, if this is true, you know what I'm saying? Because the man ain't went to court yet. We will say that. Diddy ain't went to court yet. But if this is true, my Lord, that's all I can say, bro. Like,
attorney would say, you were the one who went into his apartment. You offered that. He didn't offer to bring you up there. That perhaps this was maybe all consensual, that there was no gun, let alone maybe none of this happened. We'll see. Now, the reason she's suing Sean Combs and his businesses for this, since after all, Combs had no direct involvement in this alleged attack, the reason is because, and this is listed out in the complaint, is that Sherman allegedly utilized his connections with Combs to, quote, lure Jane Doe to his apartment. That Sherman's alleged conduct was directed and encouraged by Combs, that the Combs entities enabled him to do this. Now, the counter argument to that would be, even assuming this is all true and this happened, Sherman wasn't acting in the scope of his employment, that this was an independent action, and therefore neither Combs nor his businesses should be on the hook. Next up, we have a John Doe who claims that he became affiliated with Sean Combs because he operated a clothing brand that the rapper became interested in because, remember, Sean Combs had the brand Sean John, and that John Doe's company could supply denim and other fabrics that would be useful to Sean John. Now, he claims that Combs would verbally harass him and grab his buttocks on several occasions, and that more specifically, in the summer of 1990.
Hold on, we gotta run that back, man. Grab his buttocks. It's not funny, bro, but it's just the way he said it, bro. Hold on.
Could supply denim and other fabrics that would be useful to Sean John. Now, he claims that Combs would verbally harass him and grab his buttocks on several occasions, and that more specifically, in the summer of 1998, he attended Combs' white party in East Hampton, and Combs.
Oh my God. Wow. They said he would grab his buttocks. Like, wow. Hold on, bro. I gotta run that back one more time. Oh my God.
Now, the counter argument to that would be, even assuming this is all true and this happened, Sherman wasn't allegedly utilized businesses for this, since after all, Combs had no direct involvement in this alleged attack. The reason is because, and this is listed out in the complaint, is that Sherman allegedly utilized his connections with Combs to, quote, lure Jane Doe to his apartment. That Sherman's alleged conduct was directed and encouraged by Combs, that the Combs entities enabled him to do this. Now, the counter argument to that would be, even assuming this is all true and this happened, Sherman wasn't acting in the scope of his employment, that this was an independent action, and therefore neither Combs nor his businesses should be on the hook. Next up, we have a John Doe who claims that he became affiliated with Sean Combs because he operated a clothing brand that the rapper became interested in because Sean Combs had the brand Sean John, and that John Doe's company could supply denim and other fabrics that would be useful to Sean John. Now, he claims that Combs would verbally harass him and grab his buttocks on several occasions, and that more specifically, in the summer of 1998, he attended Combs' white party in East Hampton, and Combs allegedly groped his buttocks and twisted his nipples. And John Doe claims that he succumbed to this alleged assault because he was afraid if he spoke up or stopped this, it would...
Oh. Hey. This is horrible. This is horrible.
Jeopardize his business relationship with Sean Combs, potentially lose millions and millions of dollars in revenue. But he also claims there are other instances of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse, but doesn't really go into further detail about what those are, also suing under New York City's Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. We have another John Doe, New York State Court, who claims that in 1997, he was a respected barber working in Harlem, and Combs was one of his clients. And one day he claims he was invited to a recording studio with Combs. And after being supplied alcohol and marijuana, he claims he fell asleep. And when he woke up, he claims he saw Sean Combs standing over him, his pants and underwear pulled down. I'm not going to go into further detail here other than to say he believes Combs had violated him. And then John Doe claimed...
Damn. John. It's already bad because it's a John Doe.
He got angry. And that's when Combs, according to him, offered him $1,000 to calm him down. Now, this John Doe claims he took the money, left the studio humiliated, And he claims Combs kept giving him cash to keep him quiet as they kept running into each other at different events. Again, suing under the Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act.
Damn.
We have another John Doe filing suit in New York State Court, although this one very different because he claims that what happened to him was back in 2006 when he was just 14 years old. Claims he was visiting a hotel near Madison Square when Combs walked in, recognized him because according to John Doe, his father had had business dealings with Sean Combs. And from there, he claims Combs invited him to his hotel room to, quote, party. So he goes there, and that's when Combs allegedly offered him a drink. As you've already seen already from the other suits, John Doe claims he was slipping in and out of consciousness.
So basically, they saying like Puffy out here, Diddy out here, he worse than what's your boy name? Bill Cosby. But I don't like with the Bill Cosby thing. I don't think Bill Cosby was really doing that. He might, what I'm saying. He might have did. He might have didn't. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't even, but to be honest with you, bro, like this way worse than that. Like this, it's like he got a whole program. Like he got a program. This is what we doing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what the man goddamn doing out here. Like shit. The man doing that though. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. This shit crazy, bro.
And claims that when he woke up, Combs was sodomizing him, 14 years old. And he also says that this was being recorded. Now he claims he didn't report what happened to authority.
And they say that the man, they recording this, bro. They recording this, man. Come on, man. Come on, dog. This is horrible, dog. This is horrible.
He's
like
family out of feet.
Like, hold on. If this shit true, if this right here is true, bro, he don't need to go to jail. He need to go somewhere else, bro.
That he felt powerless. Again, suing under New York City's Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. Another John Doe filed a lawsuit, New York State Court. He claims back in 2000.
All these John Doe, like, bro, you got dudes coming out against you, dog. Dudes, you got men coming out against you, bro. Come on now. Like, what, like, really? What? What is this?
At 19 years old, he was working as a DJ for private parties. And that year, he gets a job working at Combs' white party. And he says at one point at the party, a man he believed to be security brought him drinks, started to feel lightheaded, began to feel woozy after 3 drinks, and he recalls a man carrying him into a bedroom. From there, he claims he felt his pants being removed, that there were 4 men in the room.
Like, bro, what? Like this, like this, hey, bro, this right here is, I don't know, I can't, hey, bro, I don't know. That was long. Oh my God. Hey, that's what they saying, bro. I ain't said it. I didn't say it, dog. That's what they said. That's what they
including
said.
Combs. And he goes on to allege that he was fondled, he was groped, he couldn't fight back, and then he was sodomized by multiple men, including Sean Combs, with one man allegedly sitting on his back to hold him down. Claims he wakes up the next morning.
Bro, like, what? Bro, this, what's going on, bro? Like, in the world right now, nigga?
Tries to leave, but according to him, he's stopped by the man who had been giving him drinks the night before, And this man allegedly told John Doe that if he ever spoke a word about what happened, quote, no one would ever find his body. Also suing under the Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. Final lawsuit. And this one is a little bit different, so we saved it for last. So this is now filed on behalf of 7 plaintiffs: Latasha Forbes, Billy Cummings, Ian Fearon, Ahmad Jenkins, Fallon Matthews, LaQuay Applewhite, and an unidentified Jane Doe. And they have named Combs, his affiliated companies, Christina Coram as defendants. By the way, we haven't seen her mentioned in a suit in quite some time. I believe the first time we heard about her was during Rodney Little Rod Jones' lawsuit against Sean Combs, the former music producer who sued him. Coram has been described as Combs' chief of staff at Combs Enterprises. Also named as defendants are Universal Music Group, Warner Music Group, Artist Records, and Zimbabwe Recording. And the complaint reads, at all relevant times, Combs was a serial sexual assaulter of victims by, among other things, drugging and intimidating them so that he could engage in sexual acts with said victims without their consent, raping victims, forcibly
Lord have mercy. Like, I mean, it's just, I mean, this is horrible. This is horrible. Wow.
victims and or forcing victims to engage in sexual acts with him without their consent. Sean Combs was known by the institutional defendants and Ms. Coram to engage in open and notorious violent behavior directed at men and women, including sexual assault. Ms. Coram witnessed, facilitated, and or covered up Combs' abuse of men and women as part of her employment with Bad Boy and or the other institutional defendants. The institutional defendants and its agents, employees, servants, and or representatives failed to report Combs' behavior or assaults or prevent him from continuing to assault victims like plaintiffs. So you see how they're trying to hold them all liable. Oh, and then let's mention Jones, by the way, because he's mentioned in this complaint. For example, quote, former Bad Boy producer Rodney Little Rod Jones has stated publicly that when Combs assaulted him, the chief of staff at Bad Boy, Christina Coram, excused the assault by responding that this was Combs' way of showing love, demonstrating a known and long-standing pattern of conduct that was accepted, encouraged, and ratified by Bad Boy.
So basically, the Quorum, whatever her name is, Quorum, she accepted basically what it was supposed to be, I guess, for what they think it's supposed to be.
Right. Rodney Jones compared the relationship between Combs and Coram to that of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. He sure did. He made that comparison. Now, with respect to the individual claims in this lawsuit, this is what it says. In or around 1994 at Bad Boy's premises in New York, Combs coerced Latasha Forbes, then approximately 17 years old, to drink a beverage, causing her to become intoxicated, after which he violently raped, sodomized, and sexually battered Miss Forbes and induced others to rape and sodomize Miss Forbes. In or around 1995, at a New York video shoot for Bad Boy artist the Notorious B.I.G., Combs violently molested and sexually battered Billy Cummings when she was approximately 14 to 15 years old. In or around
Damn. Like, and this is horrible. This horrible, my nigga. Like, this ain't, wow. I can't even believe this. For real. If any of this is true,
2003 in Combs' New York apartment, Combs violently sexually assaulted Ian Fearon and forced Mr. Fearon to masturbate and fillet him when Mr. Fearon was approximately 19 years old. In or around 2004, at an industry party hosted by Combs in Combs' Florida residence, Combs sexually battered and inappropriately groped LaQuay Applewhite when she was approximately 23 years old. In or around 2004-2005, at a Bad Boy launch party in Florida, Combs inappropriately groped and sexually battered plaintiff Ahmad Jenkins when he was approximately 18 years old. In or about 2010, at an audition for Making the Band, plaintiff Jane Doe was given a beverage which, upon information and belief, contained an unknown intoxicant without her knowledge, after which she was groped, sexually assaulted, and raped by Combs. In or around 2014, Combs sexually assaulted and battered plaintiff Fallon Matthews in Illinois, while Miss Matthews was intoxicated.
You're never going to believe what is inside these eggs. I'm telling you, it's the cutest thing ever, and these eggs are going to be a hit.
And again, the allegation is that Quorum and the employees and agents of the corporate entities they facilitated, enabled, or participated in the alleged sexual abuse. And the reason they may have chosen to file all together, I mean, usually you see it if all the plaintiffs, all their claims, they were harmed by one common event or incident at one time. Doesn't always have to be the case. So there is an argument that there is a strength in numbers for a jury, especially for a sex trafficking claim that I'm going to mention in a moment, but also judicial efficiency, maybe combining resources. But they are suing under multiple theories, multiple causes of action. So again, New York City Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act, but also assault, battery, false imprisonment, both intentional and negligent infliction of emotional distress, negligence, negligent hiring, retention, and supervision, and also violation of New York State's sex trafficking law. That allows victims of sex trafficking to file suit. Quote, Sean Combs ran a sex trafficking ring that lured in victims to sexually abuse, assault, batter, drug, and rape them, that was enabled, facilitated, and or participated in by the institutional defendants and Christina Quorum. Agents, employees, servants, and or representatives of the institutional defendants, including but not limited to Bad Boy CEO Christina Quorum, also took part in the sex trafficking ring by providing Combs with power, authority, staff, and resources to lure in.
Yeah. Okay.
Young men and women and sexually assault, batter, drug, and rape them as set forth above for the advancement or financial benefit of the institutional defendants and Christina Quorum. In other words, keep Sean Combs happy, we all benefit. Now let me make one final point. All of these lawsuits describe very disgusting and heinous conduct. That's clear. However,
yeah, very, 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 very.
Still becomes a question of, can they prove this happened? Many of these accounts occurred years and years ago.
So like, if anybody is able to prove that it's like, got video footage, like if they fuck around, but we don't even know what the feds got, because the feds ran up in this house and stuff like that, so we don't know what they got. They might have, because he ain't went to court yet. Now you got to think about it. Diddy ain't went to court yet, so when Diddy actually go to court, it's gonna be things that's brought out in the trial that we've never seen, like, you know what I'm saying, like, so it's gonna be really crazy, like, as far as the times that we're gonna be experiencing, as far as like with Diddy and this case, because we're gonna see some things that we probably never seen before.
Even though technically they may be able to bring these claims, these lawsuits, can they win? Will they be able to get supporting documentation, or will it rely solely on the alleged victim's testimony? Will they be able to subpoena the people who were around to allegedly participate in or facilitate this alleged abuse or saw what happened? Now, I imagine Combs will also challenge whether any of these accounts actually states a claim. We see this in an initial motion to dismiss. So even if you take everything as true, does it fit into the New York City Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act or any of the other claims that are being asserted? And again, that specific law is a relatively new law. So we see that many times in many cases, trying to get the case dismissed right at the outset. Common litigation practice. Also, statute of limitations issues on certain claims, as I mentioned before. And I will say this, to remind everyone, Sean Combs, even though he's been accused of the worst imaginable sexual assaults you can imagine, he has not been found guilty in a court of law with respect to this. He has not been found liable in any of these sexual assault lawsuits. He's innocent until proven guilty. So let's see where all of this goes. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always,
y'all kicking with us on the Karma Cafe. Like, subscribe, share, hit notification bell, and peace on one.